Ken, this is Greg. It is, hold on a second. It is Thursday, March the 3rd, year 2022. And this is lesson number 2 on the book Holes. This lesson in particular is more analysis than just a recap of what went on. And, you know, I had some of those with To Kill a Mockingbird anyway. But, oh, and I started in the wrong place again, but that's okay, I think. Yeah, this is where I wanted to start every day, but I was just checking something out. So I read last night chapters 5 and 6, and I came up with some notes. Got a couple of screens here that I want to share with you. And I want to start out with this concept of identity. All right, identity. Who am I? What makes me me? What are things that are unique or peculiar about me that when people say the name Greg Burton, they immediately, you know, if I know them, they immediately know who I am, who's being talked about, and, you know, the things that I do, the things that I do well, the things that I don't do well. Anyway, you know, our identity is what we are as a whole. But in this story, the chapters 5 and 6, I want to talk about the concept of identity as it applies to the camp. The camp's purpose on the surface was to first of all, remove the camper's identity so that they would change. You know, people who have long-standing issues or dependencies or bad habits that they can't overcome, in order for them to get over those, they have to kind of throw away their old thinking and adopt a new, you know, philosophy or a new policy concerning who they are. You know, no, I'm not going to eat this. No, I'm not going to drink that. No, I'm not going to put this into my body. And so they have to come and, you know, on paper, the purpose of this camp was to get these young boys to the place where they want to abandon the things that got them there. And so it was set up, it was not a pleasant place to be whatsoever. Not in any way, shape, or form. And the camp counselors, as in very serious things here in the world, where people want to change and want to do something different, it involves a change of lifestyle. So it involves a breaking down of your old self and taking on a new persona. People who join the military, you know, boot camp. I have a good friend I work here with, and he was a career Marine, was in the Marines for 20 years. Spent part of that time as a drill sergeant. And, you know, he made it very clear. You have to get the people, his recruits, you have to get the people to basically to abandon their rights and their privileges and to stop thinking, oh, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. And you have to train them into a new way of thinking. And this is, like I said, on the surface, that was what was kind of, you know, at least that's what the court system thought this camp was. Of course, you've read the book, so you know what the real purpose was. However, I want to talk about nicknames. Everybody here at Camp Green Lake, everybody had a nickname. They were known by something other than what their given names were. I mean, the warden at this point is just known as the warden. Mr. Pendansky, we know his name is Pendansky, but what do the kids call him? The kids call him Mom. What do we call the other guy who's not so pleasant? Mr. Sir. So everyone has a nickname. And I was reading through that last night, and I thought, why does everyone there at camp have a nickname? I've got a theory for you. See what you think about this. I've got it written here on the board. I think maybe the campers, the people who are there at camp, not talking about the adults, I'm talking about the boys who are there. I think maybe it's an act of self-preservation. They don't want their old selves done away with. And so they invent a nickname, and what the camp is doing to them is doing to their nickname person and not to their real selves. All right, and so I think the nicknames is an act of self-preservation on the part of these boys, these campers there. And again, why does everybody have a nickname? I think there has to be a reason why literally everybody has a nickname there. So, and like I said, I think for the boys, it's an act of self-preservation, so that when they get out of here in 18 months or however long it's going to take them to get out of there, when they get released from this place, they go back, they'll lose their nicknames, and they'll just resume their old lives. And again, may or may not be what the real reason is. I would think the author had a reason for giving everyone a nickname without talking to the author. I don't know what it is. Just from reading this book a few times, that's kind of my theory on it anyway. And if you remember at the very end, the one boy tells Stanley, when you get home, would you please call my mother and tell her that, and then he uses his real name, he's sorry. Again, I think they use this concept in this book for nicknames. Now I've been involved in sports teams and things like that. And we give people nicknames. It's a sign of acceptance. When you're on a sports team, that, hey, we like you, we take you. But I think here again, whether it's intentional or subconscious or whatever, I think it's on the part of the boys. I think it's an act of self-preservation. And again, like I said there, so that when they get released from the camp, they can chalk all the bad things that happen to them up to their nickname person and not to their real selves, so that they don't lose themselves, while they're here at camp. So all that, and I started on page 2, and I don't know why I started on page 2. I'm sorry. The warden, is the seat of all the power here in camp. We haven't met the warden yet. You know who she is. Stanley's dilemma. It was stated in there that before he went to Camp Green Lake, he told the truth, and people wouldn't believe him. And when he got here, the people didn't believe him there. Didn't believe him there either. So he was just kind of, he just had to learn to shut up. This guy named Clyde Sweetfeet Livingston. The Sweetfeet is not an accidental use of words by the author here. And of course, how at the end it really plays into the plot, the overall plot, the overall arc of the whole story. It plays into the plot of Stanley's dad. And then the last thing I put on here but I need to go back to the other screen. This chapter 6 is basically an exposition telling us how Stanley got there, and it really shows the ignorance of the family as well. Mother thought it would be a nice, they couldn't afford to send him to a summer camp, so she thought it'd be a nice idea. They chose not to have legal counsel for Stanley when he went before the judge. Again, this is just the overall ignorance of Stanley's family. Did I hit 2? No, I did it. Okay. All right. So Camp Green Lake, what was its purpose? It was designed to break the will of the kids. Why? Well, supposedly so they will surrender their will, and in consequence, while they're there, they will do as they're told, and they will change. And again, we know the real story. In reality, the people, the counselors and the warden there at Camp Green Lake, they still wanted the kids to surrender their will and do what they need to do in order to survive. All right, if you're in a terrible situation, where you're under the rule of somebody, think about jobs we've had. You do whatever it takes to survive. However, but then, of course, they wanted, the warden wanted the boys to dig holes looking for the nice word, for the treasure. the treasure. I'll have to change that when we're finished here. All right, it was just terrible, terrible conditions there. They had 4 minutes to take a shower. The food was awful. It was hot, and they worked, they got up early in the morning. What time was it, 4:30 they got? I don't remember what time exactly it was. They had to get up early in the morning because they wanted to get out there and dig at least a good portion of their hole before the sun came up, because it was basically desert when they got out there. When I was reading this, I thought of, the terrible conditions. I thought of concentration camp tactics like during World War II, the Nazi concentration camp, and what they did to the inmates there. They basically they conditioned the inmates from the moment they got there, even before they got there, to let them know they were really not human beings. You got the concentration camps. First thing they do is you get off the train, they would strip you, strip everybody of all their clothing, they'd shave all the hair off your head, and then they'd tattoo a number here on your wrist. And you no longer had a name as an identity. You were just a number to the camp guards and the people who ran the camp. And this whole process was to dehumanize the inmates there, and to convince the inmates that they weren't even worth saving or keeping them alive. And the inmates would just in despair, they were in despair of their lives, and whatever little hope remained, that's what kept some people alive. But to the guards, and that's the same way, and that's why I should have done that before I did this one. Did the wrong way. Why did I do it that way? On this one again, going back to the concept of identity. The camp, one of the camp's purpose was basically to remove the kid's identity. And, like football coaches do the same thing. Some basketball coaches do the same thing. Here's the terms they use, though. I have to break the kids down. I have to break my players down first, and then I have to build them back up to what I want. And the legal system thought that's what was happening at Camp Green Lake. They were removing the old identity, breaking them down, and building a new identity. So anyway, I've gone over the slides in reverse order. You might want to go back and listen to that first part again. I don't know, but that's chapters 5 and 6 today. I think I've got about 10-15 minutes in on this teaching today. So I just thought this. I thought the concept of identity was really strong in this chapter, and it is throughout the book. Make these kids into something else. Do away with their self and their self-will, and put something else back in it. But as we know, that's not the way it really worked. All right, so that's where I am today, and I hope I have enough energy. And it's been a long week. Oh my gosh! But anyway, I hope I have enough to. I'm sure I will. Either tonight or tomorrow, I'll go ahead and read a couple more chapters and come up with lesson 3. So, once again, as always, thank you for joining me, Ken. Just from your comments and you're posting things on Facebook now. It appears to me, and I hope this is true. It appears to me that you're certainly making progress, in your recovery, and I hope that's true. But that's what it appears like, from this end. So I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.